Yeah. I want you to come to Canada, Joe. I know you haven't come to Canada lately, but you got to come to Canada, because here's the thing. I watch the show all the time, so I know your feelings about Canada. But here's the thing. Like, everybody loves you in Canada, So I'm coming down here. Everybody's so stoked that I'm here, and
I love Canadians. I just hate their government.
Mm-hmm. And
sometimes Pierre, how do you say his last name? Poilievre?
Yeah, well, it's French, so well, I don't think he's French, but the name's French. Pierre Poilievre.
Poilievre.
Sort of a weird R, silent R.
Yeah, it's a strange, as you see it written down, it's very difficult to remember how to say it, right?
Yeah.
That guy makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
He's so common sense and just calling out all the nonsense that's been done under this administration.
We're watching as the world's unmade and call it all our golden age. vision can deliver us. We're golden calves until we're dust. Ooh, we're born upon a throne. Ooh, don't you know? Ain't nobody safe from us. All you ghosts are better off where you come from. And I set out to tame the land with lion teeth and jaws of lambs. Ooh, I'm drunk on the control. Until the fiction wastes away, until there's nothing left uncaged. And I'm on my own. Don't you know? Ain't nobody safe from us. All you ghosts are better off where you come from.
Hey. Here we are. We are back. It's been another kind of exciting week, don't you think? Mikerowaveable?
Very exciting. Hey, Weathers. Hi, everybody.
Hey?
Yeah, lots happened in this last week. Man, it feels like it's been a short week. So many things have happened since we last broadcasted. Oh man.
Very Canadian, too. I
Yeah.
believe. I'm looking at my timeline. We don't have any single American tidbit this week.
This might be our most Canadian show ever. I have a
know.
feeling. Thanks to
Yeah, thanks to our new prime minister.
Yep. The robotic Mark Carney. Remember that name, everyone. Mark Carney. The Manchurian candidate himself, who is more robotic than some like corporate android. It's Mark Carney himself. Yeah.
I find it really, really surprising the amount of liberals who have fallen for a bank manager.
Yeah.
Don't you find it very odd? I find it very odd.
It is odd, right? Like he doesn't fit the mold of he's such a departure from Trudeau, and even he's such a departure even from Chrétien. Like when we watched the Liberal leadership convention, which was really painful to watch, the only entertaining part about it was basically Jean Chrétien's speech.
The man from Shawinigan. Do the Shawinigan handshake.
Yeah, I know.
Love the guy.
Yeah.
I voted for him. But I find Jean Chrétien a lot more entertaining than Trudeau and Carney for sure.
It was so
but
funny.
I have to give our former prime minister some credit. He is way more entertaining than Carney.
Yeah, and I have to concede that too straight away, because I remember not being the biggest fan of Chrétien at the time, but he was hilarious at the Liberal leadership convention during his speech, and the rest of the time it just had the atmosphere of like a morgue. Like it was so boring. Like, and it was like he added some laughs and some personality to the otherwise like absolute sterile environment.
Well, even during his prime ministership, his time really, I liked Chrétien, and back then when I didn't really know left from the right and what the difference was, I just liked the guy.
Yeah.
It's just his French accent, the way he didn't really take shit from anybody. Oh well,
Yeah.
didn't he was the one who gave the claw to the dude who was going to give him the pie kind of deal. You know?
there's that classic picture where, and it's really up close, like it's a real like close up picture where he's strangling the protester and he's like, oh, and then I remember after that incident, I don't even remember the details around it, but like some of the protesters got pepper sprayed. And Chrétien was like, well, you know me, I like pepper on my plate, you know. You remember that? Oh god!
Oh no, I didn't, but I can still imagine it in my head. That's the personality he is. You know?
Like, and he had that, that death grip on the guy. And in retrospect, like looking back now, I give him a lot more credit than I did at the time, because you remember his shtick where he'd be like, "Well, you know me, I love Canada," you know. And he would say that everywhere he went. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, wow, that's pretty refreshing, especially in light of Justin Trudeau, who went everywhere bad mouthing our country for like the better part of a decade. And meanwhile, Chrétien was like, you know me, I love Canada.
Yeah. Well, you know, like of all the prime ministers in review, you know, we had, you know, few conservatives, few PCs, I mean, and a lot of liberals.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chrétien is basically the one that sticks out in my mind as, you know, as a departure from the 9 or so years with Trudeau, because that's who I grew up with.
Yeah.
And then there was like this back and forth kind of, you know, we had people like Mulroney and we had John Turner, although a lot of people kind of forget him. And there was the very brief Kim Campbell.
Yeah. That's right.
I remember her because, you know, like, you know, she was the one that, you know, had a very brief moment in time as prime minister.
Yeah, our first female prime minister.
You know,
who was
way
basically, yeah,
you know,
and she was basically left holding the bag after Mulroney stepped down.
Yeah, you know, I kind of felt sorry for her, even though I didn't really understand too much about politics at that point, you know.
Yeah, it all blurs for sure. And like looking back now, like Chrétien did a lot of things to sort of like solidify or really entrench some traditional things into our constitution. Like he really
he's like the least liberal of the liberals, really.
He was. Yeah, like if you look at it, he was very like there are certain things like I didn't like, and I think they were a bit too liberal with their immigration policies at the time, but I think Chrétien like really solidified certain like traditional institutions into you know, like the monarchy, and making it very difficult to change things constitutionally. Like I think during his time he brought in the constitutional amendment formula or something like that, or he altered it to in such a way to make changes very difficult. But and he always kind of missed that guy a bit.
Yeah, no, I really like him, and I think I voted for. I'm pretty sure I voted for him because it was pretty much the first time I was able to really vote, and I had some sense of the political and all that. And actually, during his time, somewhere during his prime ministership, I went on this trip to northern Quebec with a bunch of guys, and we actually passed by Shawinigan, and there was something about him there, you know, at the welcome center and everything.
Right,
you know,
right.
Like, hey, we're in the prime minister's hometown. You know.
Oh my gosh, do you remember? I don't even remember what the context was for this, but there's this soundbite where Chrétien was explaining something, and he's like, "The proof is a proof, and when the proof is a proof, the proof is proven." You know, remember that? Like, I miss the Chrétien like soundbites.
That's French logic, man. I'm just so used to hearing that, and you know that formal logic, and somehow it made sense. You know, maybe that's what he brought into the Liberals, just this like classic Quebecois mentality.
Yeah,
you know?
and he was. And you know, as many like I remember the scandals and stuff, but I do miss like his sense of humor. Like,
yeah, he was a funny guy. Like,
And in
he-
retrospect,
even
I
with
do
his
miss that.
accent, just emphasized how funny he was. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know me, I'm just a little guy from Shawinigan. You know, I love Canada. Classic.
Okay, we don't-
Oh my gosh.
We've established we don't hate all liberals, so that's good. So, anyways, before we go any further with this week's mayhem and chaos, because we love chaos here, let's go into the usuals and maybe just one or two announcements. So, let's start with the simples. So, if you want to find us, of course, on Twitter, you can find the show at Hand of Infinity. Actually, another thing I want to emphasize. It's at microwave TCM.
Yeah.
Am I right this time? Okay.
Yeah, I'm right.
I
Yeah.
think there was a
I
little
made
flub
that
there.
That was my
Don't worry
fault.
about it. Yeah, I probably should have noticed it too because no, but I remember at one point typing Mikerowaveable and not understanding why I couldn't find you, and then I just went to my tab and just clicked on your photo or something like that.
Yeah.
Didn't even realize like, oh, it's because it's not.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
It's
But anyways,
microwave- yeah.
It's Microwave TCN. If you want to talk to either of us, I'm at Hand of Infinity, and Mikerowaveable is at Microwave TCN. I have to get used to that. So that's our Twitter handles or X handles or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
If you want to find the show on YouTube, you can. The live show is actually there currently, but we're actually thinking about moving on and uploading the show after the live show onto YouTube and going live on Rumble. And if you want to find us on Rumble, we have a branded channel thanks to all the people who view us over there, and we have quite a following there. I think our last show actually we got 128 views.
Yeah.
It's
And
pretty impressive.
I looked
No.
today and I thought it was at like 141 on Rumble
Oh,
from last
okay.
week. So that's
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yay.
no, okay. Then I'm gonna have to do some homework, and we're gonna have to do live on Rumble next week.
So
look for us on Rumble live next week, and doing the reverse on YouTube. Screw you, YouTube,
yeah.
and screw you for shutting down our podcast last week. You know,
Take that.
just want to put it out there. You know,
Yeah.
they shut us down for putting that clip of the Daily Show of all things. you know?
Whatever happened to fair use, YouTube? Jeez.
I know. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to argue with YouTube anymore. You guys are going to get the recording, and we're going to give Rumble our live. So
Yeah.
there's
'cause-
that.
Yeah, Rumble cares about freedom of speech.
So
Darn it.
yes, we're
I-
going to actually put our money where our mouth is, and put our mouth on Rumble, our
Yeah.
live mouth.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I
Yeah,
think it's
thanks,
about time we
everybody.
make that move. Yes, and thank you for viewing us over there, and we'll make the move next week. So look for us live on Rumble next week.
Yeah. It'd be fun.
All right.
Great idea.
So yes, so I guess we should start out with our timeline like we usually do. It's not really much of a timeline anymore because it's all about
Electioneering. Doo-doo.
and Canada.
And
So,
Canada.
Let's start with the most Canadian thing we have on our roster right now. It's Mark Carney playing hockey. Wow, you even got a jersey too.
24.
Is that any significance?
I don't know.
Seeing that it was 2024 last year, I don't know. No, you can skate, and he can dribble, or whatever you call that.
Yeah, you can handle the puck.
Ah, that's it. Yeah. We don't have the shot here, but apparently some person on the phone had caught him missing the net and made a comment about something about net zero.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, he missed the open net at some point, and she was like, net zero, and that was pretty good.
He's apparently living a stream because he keeps coming up with these hockey terms, especially that stupid elbows up thing. I don't even know why I'm doing it because it's so stupid, you know?
Yeah, and you notice how, like, in a lot of those sequences, he was by himself on the ice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's true.
God, almost 60 years.
He was a goalie, I think.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
remember he talked about being a goalie and stuff. So why wasn't he in the net? That's what I want to know. He's such a good goalie and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked like he was wearing goalie skates and he was just skating around.
There's goalie skates?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what they look like to me. Like,
Or maybe they're just badly sized because he's a tiny dude, isn't he?
he looks small.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Burns look.
They're just. I wonder how much this cost the Liberal Party. I wonder if they paid to have him do this.
I don't know. It's actually a
publicity
good question. I mean, it's obviously a publicity stunt to go
big
along
time.
with his elbows up thing. You know?
Yeah. And like they're trying to emphasize how Canadian he is. No, really, he's just as Canadian as you or I. Like he's
Well,
as
he can
Canadian
skate.
as everybody. you
Skate
know?
better than I can, and then he can definitely handle the puck better than I can. So I'll give him that much.
But yeah,
Does that change your opinion of him? No.
no,
Any?
not at all.
Just wanted to ask.
It's like such a contrived media event, and they've been trying to do this ever since he got on the scene. They're trying to emphasize, no, he's Canadian. He just because he was away for the better part of his life doesn't mean he isn't as Canadian as everyone else. And this is such a publicity stunt, right?
And what's this about a curse? There was something about a
curse.
Yeah,
because like people were online were saying like this is about the Carney curse, like because apparently people were injured, like Connor McDavid is injured, and Leon Draisaitl's injured, and the goalie Skinner's injured, and they're like, and hockey players are super and hockey fans are really superstitious, right? So
right, and this happened after this, right?
Yeah, like I think like someone tweeted like Carney visits and skates around, and all of a sudden everyone's injured, which is hilarious. Like. And bad for the Oilers, of course. Like Connor McDavid, like being the best hockey player in the world, and I think Leon Draisaitl may have been injured before Carney's visit, but it's still, it's spooky. It's eerie that this happened. And
are they in playoff season yet?
We're getting there. We're getting close, but not quite.
All right. Hopefully the Oilers will be able to recover from the curse.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah. I'm not, a fan of the Oilers myself. I, got a stick for my hometown, but even then, I don't even know what my team's doing these days. So, anyways, that's Carney being Canadian. So, yay him.
Yay him.
So next on our timeline, this happened kind of on a Saturday-ish, on the eve of him dropping the writ, as they say, to declare the election.
Yeah.
There's something about Carney finally gets a riding to ride in. So
this election call imminent. We've been speculating about exactly where Mark Carney will be running for.
And these are some podcasters that we follow. This is Northern Perspective. I believe they're from the West. They do really good coverage of what's going on. This couple. If you guys are looking for podcasts to, stay up, especially if you're from the West and want the Western perspective, these guys are really good. So check them out. And all that. So they're about to talk about the riding that Mark Carney eventually fell upon to basically run in. And he apparently has taken the riding of Chandra Arya.
Right.
Now, if you don't remember who Chandra Arya is, he actually was in the running for leadership of the Liberal Party.
Yeah.
But just like, what's her name?
Ruby Dalla, yeah.
Ruby Dahlia.
Yeah.
He got kicked out of the race for some mysterious reason. And now he's lost his riding.
That's right.
So let's play
which is incidentally very close to me where I reside, without doxing myself. But it's very close.
Very close.
And and we're not getting that much information because, I think we forget sometimes that the Liberal Party of Canada, just like the other parties in Canada, they're not public entities. They're Are they semi-private? I don't know, but they keep their cards close to their chest. We're not always privy to like the internal machinations of why people are removed and why people are disqualified from running in leadership races and stuff. And this is yet another mysterious instance where a candidate gets disqualified and then is disqualified from running in his own riding where he was the incumbent. So it's like this is another mini controversy going on within the Liberal Party. Yeah.
So let's see what the Northern Perspective people have to say about this.
Seat. Originally, there were thoughts that it would be in Edmonton because he started his leadership campaign there, and we have heard from Carney about how much he's played hockey and grew up there. Well, it seems those personal ties weren't too important, and it also gives the Liberal leader a very bad look when it comes to their favorite slogan, diversity is our strength.
Let's take a look. So, ladies and gentlemen, Chandra Arya ended up posting this the other day on March 20th, where he's talking about the fact that he has been essentially told that you will not be running for your seat again in the next election.
I have been informed by the Liberal Party that my nomination as the candidate for the upcoming federal election in Nepean has been revoked. While this news is deeply disappointing, it does not diminish the profound honor and privilege it has been to serve the people of Nepean and all Canadians as their Member of Parliament since 2015. Over the years, I've poured my heart
And remember that date. So that's 10 years. He's been running this riding for 10 years.
Yeah,
Okay?
he came in with Trudeau.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
and soul into this role. I am immensely proud of the work I have done as a parliamentarian, the unwavering service I have provided to the residents of Nepean, the principled stands I have taken on issues that matter deeply to Canadians, and the causes I have stood up for, even when it was difficult, even when it came at a personal or political cost. Serving my community and country has been the greatest responsibility of my life, and I remain grateful for every moment of it. Dated March the 20th, 2025. Dear Chandra, I am writing on behalf of the National Campaign Co-Chair, who has conducted a thorough review of your eligibility to serve as a candidate for the Liberal Party of Canada in the riding.
So yeah, he did the post, and then he posted this wonderful Dear John letter, or what do you call it? Pink slip letter.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So as sad as that is, let's keep going.
Of Nepean. After careful consideration, based on a review of the information by the chair of the Green Light Committee, the National Campaign Co-Chair is recommending the revocation of your status as a candidate. Unfortunately, based on that recommendation, your status as a candidate for the Liberal Party of Canada has been revoked. I appreciate that this news will come as a disappointment to you and your campaign team. Sincerely, Andrew Boven, Designate of National Campaign Co-Chair, Liberal Party of Canada.
Okay. Well, he loses his riding of 10 years. You know, kind of weird. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, also get this kind of perspective, and I kind of got it from all the podcasters who have like talked about this issue. At this point, since the election was pretty much predicted to be dropped like last Sunday, there was already some work being done, and this guy has probably gone around again and started collecting contributions for the Liberal campaign in his region. And of course, it gets pushed into this piggy bank for the Liberal Party, and then all of a sudden he's not running.
Mhm.
And on top of that, from what I hear of this area, his support, the Liberal support that the support he gets for the Liberal Party seems to be in actuality support for Andra Sharia himself. Or
Yes.
Chandra
No,
Arya, sorry.
I
Yeah.
think that is the case because he is of Indian heritage, and there's a large sort of diaspora populace in the riding that he was in that was supporting him, and I think that ethnic group was responsible for mobilizing and getting the vote out and getting him into the House of Commons, and that is true. It's based around him and his ethnic community, and yeah, it's all very strange, isn't it? It's almost like they needed somewhere to drop Carney, and why not get rid of Chandra Arya for reasons? That's what it comes off as, and it's really reminiscent of who you just mentioned, Ruby Dalla, when they decided to remove Ruby Dalla from, and they also, because didn't Chandra Arya, he made a bid for the leadership as well, and they disqualified him from that.
Yeah, on the basis of like, well, one, I think he was he went on an interview, and I believe they actually talked about it further on in this actual podcast that he when asked like, well, do you speak French? He obviously said no.
Yeah.
And then he went on further to say that when the reporter asked, well, language is sort of an issue with Quebec. So, and then he just went on and just basically said, no, it isn't.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, not that he would have been a really good candidate for this area, other than the fact that he got support of his ethnic community.
Yeah.
Like
I just love this. I just really love this controversy because it makes the liberals look bad and it makes them look like hypocrites. I know a lot of times hypocrisy for liberals just really doesn't do anything. Like they seem to be able to like power through hypocrisy even when they're committing it. But I still like this little scandal because it makes the liberals look bad. Like I personally don't have any sympathy for Chandra Arya losing his seat. Like I didn't like him as a candidate. I think he had several scandals over the last 10 years. I mean, albeit minor ones, but I do think that he was treated badly, and that the liberals are up to their old tricks again about, doing whatever they feel like, and nobody really can do anything about it. And they just needed to free up a prospective seat for Carney, and here he is in Nepean running here.
Well, you would think that, right? But then let me play this over here. Where is that? 01C? Yeah, here. So this was basically like a few days after Mark Carney declared the elections. I don't remember where he is, but he was a reporter have asked him about this. So let's play that.
Patron with CTV News. We have confirmed that Chandra Arya was disqualified because of foreign interference, specifically related to his meeting with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Given the fact that you have security clearance, can you tell Canadians why that is a concern? And the Liberals have yet to put up a full roster of candidates in all 343 ridings. What is the possibility that foreign interference is impacting that selection of candidates, either from India, China, Russia, Iran?
Let me go. I'm going to deal quickly with the first part of your question, if I may, which is that one of the things, and I've had security clearance for almost 2 decades in various forms at various times. One of the things about having security clearance is you don't then take information that you have from security clearance and repeat it to others. This is something Mr. Poilievre wouldn't know because he doesn't have his security clearance.
That's kind of a lie because he does know why he's doing it, and he basically said the reason why Pierre Poilievre isn't willing to, get a security clearance right there. Yeah, whenever you're under a Secrets Act or whenever you get secret clearance, it means not only do you do get access to a certain level of information, but then you're bounded by law not to reveal any of it.
Right.
Or comment on any of it.
Yeah. You can't divulge what you've seen to other parties, not even your own family, in theoretically. And
this man loves digging at that. But, and he thinks that we're too stupid. A lot of us are too stupid to realize, the nuance and the reasons, Yeah. He seems to tout it around saying, well, you should come join the club. Like being, getting your security clearance is like a club that you can be in and stuff. And everyone of that rank should be of this club. But he doesn't really talk about the fact that you're bounded.
Yeah, and
But,
it's
of course, he doesn't care because, of course, there's most likely the secrets that Pierre would be bounded not to divulge probably have a lot to do with the Liberal Party.
yeah, and Pierre
You know?
has to be in a position where he can hold the government to account in Parliament, especially um, in question period when it's subjected to public scrutiny, and he can question the Liberal Party about conflicts of interest or whatever. And that's the reasons why Pierre Poilievre has taken those steps, right? And it's not as if Poilievre hasn't had security clearance in the past, because he has. And I just don't think this sort of argument is going to resonate with Canadians. I don't think anybody buys it.
And it's not really such a high bar. I mean, for God's sakes, I've had security clearance. I've had secret at one point.
So have I. Like,
So
I don't know.
it's like, if I can get it, anybody can get it.
Yeah,
Just as long as you're not
exactly.
a freaking criminal, basically.
Yeah.
Or a threat to security. Really,
And
you'll get your clearance.
and it's
You know?
so laughable. Some of the people with security clearance in the States or here that have been complete idiots. Anyway, yeah, I think
Anyways.
I don't even think tactically this is going to have any traction with the public. This line of attack, it's not working.
Yeah, but I think he doesn't realize that, of course, and he thinks it digs at enough people to keep pushing that in people's faces and stuff. But
Yeah.
anyways, an attack of opportunity has just occurred.
Yep,
We found another one.
we found one. Here's one other, and again, Carney, like at every turn, like Carney isn't. You can just see him. He's an arrogant bastard.
Oh yeah,
and he's like, I've had security clearance in the past. Like he's always.
Well, like I said, he thinks it's like some kind of like super club or something like that.
Yeah, he does, and he's just not
Anyways.
likable.
No.
And first point. Second, with respect to the Liberal candidates, I'll say two things. One is we have a very robust and serious process of vetting candidates. And we take it very seriously. And so there are some candidates that we don't, to use our terminology, green light, we don't approve. And that is the case with Mr. R.
All right. So like he said, they have a robust system of vetting their candidates and stuff.
Yeah.
So what is he telling us? That for the last 10 years, somehow Chandra Arya has passed their level of scrutiny, and then all of a sudden overnight he doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, the robust process they have is so robust that we're just showing how the robustness of the robust process. That's exactly what we're talking about right here. And that coming from Carney is so funny, right? Because we have, I mean, multiple people have talked about this. The Conservatives, we've talked about it on our show about Carney himself, that, he has not been subjected to this ethical vetting that most people, that all members of parliament have to go through in order to
that is true.
disclose their conflicts of interest. And Carney is just, he is so conflicted as an MP based on all sorts of stuff, right? Like we've talked about his personal wealth, his stock portfolio, his connections to Brookfield Asset Management, and his connections to, the Chinese Communist Party and financial interests in China. I mean, like he's so, and also his WEF connections, like him talking about ethics, him talking about robust processes is laughable. It's hypocritical on the surface.
Well, like
of
to
it,
me,
right?
it's just like listening to Kamala Harris. When he it's word salad, really.
It is. I mean, like I think Kamala Harris had like an IQ of like 40 or thereabouts. I mean, I think I would give I would give Carney a little bit. He's a bit
Well,
higher, right? But
she couldn't have been that low. I mean, she was a prosecutor, right?
why is it every time she opened her mouth, she sounded like she was, you know, a low IQ idiot? And
Well, I blame that on being left tainted, but that's just me.
but yeah, like Carney, this coming from Carney is pretty rich, and it's
Oh, yeah.
hypocritical, and people should see that, and I hope they do see that because
Well, that's the thing that gets me is that whenever I go on Facebook in my circle of friends, whenever the stuff like this comes up, they always want to push it to it's just a conspiracy theory, and it's like a conspiracy theory. I mean, you can't get more blatant than what he just said.
Yeah. And that when people use that as an ad hominem, that's like just a dismissive ad hominem attack on, they don't want to delve into it themselves, so they just call anything that doesn't adhere to their worldview as a conspiracy, and it's not true.
Well, just because they assume that everybody else is like too stupid to understand conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Like explain to somebody why Brookfield is problematic.
Yeah.
They think they're too stupid to understand all that, and it's just gobbledygook and conspiracy theory that is pushed by YouTubers and stuff. When all we're really saying is that, look, he has interest in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
As prime minister, he would have influence on that bunch of stuff, and that bunch of stuff could equate to a lot of money. And if he's over here, kind of like making some decisions, right? Deciding between Canada and his bunches of money, and he makes a decision that gives him bunches of money, that's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I don't know how
and
much more simpler you can get than that.
And he's conflicted in multiple ways. He has multiple allegiances that run contrary to the interests of Canada and Canadian citizens. And that's the basis of the argument, right? Like he's affiliated
He's
with
not
the
making
WEF.
decisions. As prime minister, he should be making decisions for the benefit of Canada.
Yeah. But
the conflict is he has to make decisions between benefit of Canada and putting money in his portfolio.
Yeah.
Or going for policies which put more money in his portfolio. I don't know how much more basic that can be, that I can get on this.
And
I really don't.
And we know, like from his affiliations, his ties to transnational organizations like the WEF and also the Chinese Communist Party, we know that if he gets in there, the conflict will be he's doing the bidding of these other entities that are hostile to the national interests of our own country and the interests of its citizenry, us. And that's something that we, as citizens, as voting citizens, we can't tolerate this stuff. People like him do not deserve to hold public office, and I can't emphasize that point enough. We need to get someone in there who is a populist, and Pierre Poilievre is the best candidate that we have, who is actually his platform, and the Conservative platform right now is geared towards benefiting the people of our country. It's a national populist program, and Carney is the exact opposite. He's the epitome of a hostile globalist elitist who shouldn't even be in our country. And he shouldn't.
These leftists should be against people like him. This guy.
They should be. They should be. Because no matter how,
understand that.
And they've been dressing him up as best they can as a man of the people. And he's playing hockey. He's meeting with the workers, and he's when you actually look at him, when you get that raw video, he's so awkward. He's not a man of the people. He's a robot. Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, let's keep going. All right. So next on our timeline, yeah, here it is.
One.
All right. So this is, of course, Sunday, and this is, of course, let's see how long we can last this time.
Right, yeah.
Bonjour tout le monde. 2 months ago, I was at a rink in Edmonton where I'd learned to play hockey. And that's about as far as you can get from the grandeur of Rideau Hall. And I was there because I was putting up my hand to run for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada.
That's what I don't get. He was in the middle of a hockey rink, and he decided to raise his hand to become prime minister. What?
Yeah.
Like, what? I didn't give a what?
So I got on my plane that we pre-wrapped because we knew the election was coming, but we didn't tell anybody, to fly all the way back to Rideau Hall to make this announcement today.
Canada.
I don't get it.
And I was doing that because I knew our country needed to take action. We needed to act to fix our economy. We needed
Take action. And of course, the first thing he does when he finally becomes prime minister, he goes to Europe instead of dealing with what's on top of the list of everybody's mind in Canada. But anyways, that's just here and there, right?
And
to
once
act
again,
to fight.
I'm Mark Carney. Remember that name.
The Americans. We needed to act to deal with Donald Trump's tariffs. Il y a 9 jours,
9
notre
days
nouveau
ago,
gouvernement
our
a
new
prêté
government
serment.
was
Et nous
sworn
sommes
in,
immédiatement
and
passés
we
à
immediately
l'action. Cette
decided
semaine,
to act.
nous avons conclu
This-
Why'd they choose a feminine voice for him?
I don't know. I guess that's the only translator they had on station. But I was just gonna say that it was hilarious. Like the basis of the Liberal campaign right now, you can just see it. Like they don't have much to go on, except
Yes.
for anti-Americanism, because they can't run on their record because their record is terrible as far as everything is concerned, and they're wrapping themselves in this anti-Americanism. And as we've said in previous shows, like that's something that happens in Canadian politics, and it's a weapon or a tool used by both the left and the right, depending on the situation. And the Liberals are wrapping themselves in anti-Trump and anti-American sentiment, and
'Cause that's all they have.
that's all they've got. It's all they've got because he was involved in our economic destruction, so he can't run on that record. Oh,
Nope.
man.
Nope. Although he tries to see if he can pull fast ones on people by hinting that, but I find it really amazing sometimes, because sometimes he'll talk about the past, and he'll say, we've made, Canada, not the Liberal Party, Canada has made some wrong decisions, and I'm here to fix them all.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
It's
Weren't you
like-
running the country for the last 10 years?
Exactly. Like, remember when we watched during our episode when we went through the Liberal leadership debate, and Carney himself during the English debate, like he was like, our economy was in bad shape before Trump's tariffs, and we were like, yeah, who ruined the economy? This guy right here. That's essentially what Carney was saying. And we can't forget that, right?
But he must think we're stupid enough to forget stuff, and we must be, because I know people who just even look past that stuff. It's like,
yeah.
You voted. We voted for the Liberal Party to be our leader to lead us in the last 3 terms.
That's right.
And our country is way worse off than it used to be 3 terms ago.
Definitely.
It's bad enough that that now we're basically a punching bag for the Americans.
Yeah.
We've got nothing to show for it.
That's right. Like on every I know it's one of those themes of our show over the past 12 episodes, like our economic stagnation, our economic decline during the Liberal lost decade that we're gonna that people are calling it since 2015. Like every metric on the economy alone, right? And it's like GDP, growth, investment, taxes.
We should be the richest country in the world with the resources that we have and the people that we have to run it. The level of education we have is hypothetically higher than Americans.
It is very highly motivated, well-educated, skilled workforce. Like some of the most staggering natural resources in the world, like our natural riches and everything. It's like, like we've said in our very first episode, like Canada is one of those nations where we're rich by nature but poor by policy, and that really holds true for this 10 years of liberal mismanagement.
Anyways, let's see if we can get to the point where he actually declares.
We reached an agreement on national defense with Australia.
Oh yeah, he's going through his record
to
right
protect
now
Canada.
for his last 9 days as prime minister.
We strengthened our security relationship with France and the United Kingdom.
Well, I'd really like to know where are the receipts for that. Like, so what are the deals that we made with France, and did we manage to turn around this like 75% output to America? Did we actually manage to replace all that?
No, like I remember, like when I just in passing I saw that news story where Canada had reached some sort of agreement with Australia for some sort of, like, was it radar technology in the north or something? That was one of those like recent news stories that kind of like got lost. But I'm not aware.
Australia is like at the bottom of the world.
Yeah, like I mean, like
they're so far that's the furthest you can get from Canada.
Like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, they're a Commonwealth partner, and I think it was like some radar technology or something like that. But like the big elephant in the room is like our relationship with the Americans and our defense relationship with them, and the fact that Trudeau and Carney is continuing the trend of avoidance as far as U.S.-Canada relations are concerned, and that's the elephant in the room right now for defense and for trade. And he's done nothing.
Zero. Big goose egg.
And I really don't blame these like other leaders for avoiding Carney, because they're probably in their minds, they're probably like, okay, you're going to be here for 5 minutes and then you're going to get crushed and you're not even going to be here. So I'm not even going to bother talking to you. And I don't blame them.
Is it true?
I think that's part of it. Like, I think a lot of these other leaders are like, he doesn't have like a 4-year mandate, so because he hasn't been elected. Right. So I think they're like, well, why am I even going to bother talking to you? I think that's
Ford has.
Yeah, like, because like the thing with like these and to their credit, like the provincial premiers were doing so much of the legwork as far as trade and the tariffs were concerned, but the administration in the states know they can't get a pan-Canadian or a nationwide deal because they've had to deal with these federal jackasses.
Well, no. On top of that, that's federal jurisdiction as far as I'm concerned.
So
and I didn't really understand the whole reason of like, well, I get it. Okay, the provinces are sort of like states, and they have some level of autonomy to seek the benefits of their own province and stuff. But if you're going across the border, that's federal territory right there.
That's right. And that's why the Trump administration knows that, and they're waiting for someone to actually get a 4-year mandate, right? So
yeah, because anything that the provinces decide is only fleeting as the next federal mandate. Really.
Exactly, because what really needs to be done is to get these sticking points as far as USMCA are concerned, like renegotiated with a Poilievre and Trump negotiation about this stuff. Because I don't know, I just can't see Carney winning at this point. He's so terrible.
Well, I'd like to believe that, but every time I look at my Facebook and all the people around me who still think the world of him, it scares me.
That's true.
It does.
A lot of
even my family. It's like my family will vote for him, and it's sort of like, do you not watch the news? Do you not see this?
Do you not watch the Common Nonsense podcast?
We're constantly finding retards like this dude.
Exactly.
Found another one.
Found one right there. There's one
right there.
Yeah. Retard finder.
Okay, let's see if he actually gets to declaring it.
To protect Canadians. We launched discussions on a new trade agreement with the European Union to provide more assistance to Canadian business.
The tax on carbon for consumers, for small businesses, and for farmers.
Yeah, he turned the number to 0. If anybody knows math, anything multiplied by 0 is 0.
Yeah.
But the tax is still there.
I think anything to do with carbon, pricing carbon is it's stupidity, absolute stupidity.
Well-
I don't see how you can implement this carbon BS and claim to want to kickstart our economy. Like they're running it off. That's contradictory. It's absolute insane and radical policy that a lot of these WEF globalist guys
Well,
love.
you know why?
Well,
They love it because they run the businesses that make the machinery that this new technology runs on.
That is true, and you're right. Like that's a huge factor, and you're right to point that out. And it's a conflict of interest straight away for somebody like Carney, but it's also a radical ideology that is aimed at deindustrializing the industrialized West, and it is economic, but it's also a malevolent ideology. Like today, I even saw like there was like this. They were tearing apart a power plant in Germany, and it's like this deindustrialization of the Western world, and all the people who like China and Russia are applauding this because, oh look, the useful idiots in the West are destroying their own countries, and that's the exact opposite of what we need right now, right? We need to be ramping up industry to compete, and this carbon tax lunacy is nothing but putting like a millstone around our necks, right? Of industry and the citizen, and it's going to make life worse. And I know I've said that before, but I can't emphasize that enough.
Let's put it in simple terms for a lot of people who think they're too simple to understand this, right? You remember, like, I don't know, maybe a few years ago, they're still around. You can go to Canadian Tire and buy these things. You know those little water air conditioners, the personal air conditioners that you pour a little bit of water in it. They say that's going to cool your space and all that.
Yeah,
They're usually at about like $50, to buy and all that, versus the $200, $300, $400 you need to actually get a real air conditioner. Well, that's what windmill technology is like.
Yeah.
At first, it seems like a good idea. You're only putting water into it and you plug it into the wall, right?
Yeah.
But then you realize, like, especially if you're in like Montreal and it gets really humid here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like if you're in a humid environment, those air conditioners don't work.
Yeah. And those giant windmills kill birds and
make noise.
They make noise. They're terrible for
you
farmland.
need a lot of them to actually contribute the equivalent of what any power plant contributes to the grid.
Yeah, like in a good case study for that would be my province of Ontario. Like that was an abject failure. Like the Green Energy Act provincially here in Ontario was terrible, because the provincial Liberals at that time pushed these green initiatives, and a lot of windmills are in my province, and they've caused all sorts of problems to farmers, farmland, and they don't contribute anything to the grid. Like, and there's all sorts of conversion problems, and it's hilarious because they're gigantic and they take all sorts of resources and concrete. It's just like
and they shatter, and they dangerously shatter, and blade pieces go all over the place.
Yeah, and they disrupt
when they break down.
And they disrupt migratory paths of birds and stuff like that. Like they're not worth the price.
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree with you totally.
And on top of that, further on that, where was I going with this? like the whole idea of wind technologies is just ridiculous.
It is.
You know,
it doesn't work.
No. Oh yeah, that's it. All these green technologies. Guess what environment they don't like the most, or they don't seem to work the most in?
Like a cold northern climate.
Like Canada's?
Like Canada. And that's the thing, right? Like, and other, like, the big thing right now is AI, right? We're talking about AI and how voracious AI is in terms of its need for electricity. And
right.
Everybody knows that AI seems to be near total in terms of its importance across industry, right? Like whether it's like mining, oil and gas, retail logistics, any industry, that it's almost like AI and that type of technology is like, it needs to be implemented all across industries. And that means increasing capacity, our electrical capacity. And these green initiatives aren't going to cut it as far as increasing our capacity is concerned. And
no, I mean, you would have to take up more space than the current windmills that you have. You'd have to do something about the snow, because apparently that's a real damper on a lot of these green technologies.
Oh, that's hilarious. Remember that? I think you showed me that clip where it was like this vast solar panel field in Canada, but it was all buried in snow. That made me laugh.
So what are you going to do? You're going to put some heating coils that you have to power so you can melt all the snow on the solar panels so they can charge up batteries again?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, and here's another thing. During the winter, how much light do we get exactly?
Very little. So yes, like hello seasonal depression, January, February. I know we have to laugh because it is absurd and it's funny. But yeah, that's the type of stuff that people like Mark Carney and his globalist sort of idiots like pushing these initiatives.
If you don't believe us, you can read his book. It's all in his book. You know, what's it called? Values?
Yeah, values. And he has a forthcoming book that's been delayed called Hinge, which is they were supposed to release it later this month, I think. But they didn't want it out because, you know, he didn't want to
go against the things he was trying to lie about.
Exactly.
Right?
So that's another funny thing. Like I just read in passing, like this morning. Yeah.
You know, I've had enough listening because so let's just cut to the chase. He eventually declares that, you know, he went to the Governor General and he asked her to dissolve Parliament. And so that puts us into the races. Boom.
Yeah.
We're in election season. We've got from this day on, it was like 37 days, I believe, to basically campaign.
Yeah.
And it's the shortest in our history, I believe.
Yep. That's right.
No.
And they're
trying to take advantage of the momentum.
Yeah.
The momentum.
Exactly. And the
Carney momentum.
They want to have the shortest election cycle possible. Election campaign, I should say, possible, because they know that Carney is really, really great at putting his foot in his mouth and looking like an idiot.
At least to most people that we know, you know. Anyways, so the leaders basically go into campaign mode. So the first one we'll look at is Poilievre.
Yeah.
Matt, there's Cruz. He's, as you can see, he's a fighter pilot, and we have our pet penguin with us today too. We're happy to be here to launch our campaign to restore Canada's promise, and to do it on this very beautiful day. Today, the Liberals are asking for a fourth term in power, after swapping Justin Trudeau for his economic advisor and hand-picked successor, Mark Carney. But after the lost Liberal decade, the question is whether Canadians can afford a fourth Liberal term. After these out-of-touch Liberals inflated housing costs, drove up the cost of food, pushed 2 million people to food banks, unleashed crime on our streets, ruined our immigration system, blocked our resources, sent $500 billion to the United States, and made our economy more reliant on the Americans than ever before? Or is it time to put Canada first for a change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, honor hard work, build homes, cut taxes, lock up criminals, secure our borders, unleash resources to bring home our jobs, and stand up to Donald Trump from a position of strength?
You'd think it'd be that complicated. You'd think that any country would love any of these things. And actually, that's how you make a country.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's
You make
really
strong borders, you get a really strong military to protect those borders, and then you work for the people,
Exactly. Like, I think the Conservatives, I think this campaign, even though we're just in the opening few salvos, it's been good. It's been really good because Poilievre, he's put it out there, like he's hitting all the key points, and those are populist points that the conservative base, the people that actually vote for conservatives, we want these types of changes. And it's a credit to the conservative strategists that they're playing to the base's concerns, because these are legitimate concerns. People using food banks, like, those numbers are true, and they've been going up since the Liberals took power, and it's very like concerning. The cost of living, crime has become a huge issue, and the Liberals are notoriously bad at making the conditions such that criminals can reoffend and reoffend. And Pierre Poilievre during his rallies has been making that point about, like, a small number of criminals get arrested. Like, he cited something like there's like this number of criminals that had been arrested like over like 2,000 times or something like that. And
it's basically a reflection of the previous administration in America with the Biden government.
It's the same program, right? And
it is, and I go ahead. Sorry.
I really think it's a deliberate program, because you saw that under Biden. You saw catch and release justice. You saw, I think it's like what Sam Francis called anarcho tyranny, where you have law-abiding people who are afraid to go outside, and you have criminals running amok. And I think it's really on purpose. I think catch and release policies are used as a tool from these hostile governments to keep their own populace in check. And that's why, and you had that in spades over the last 10 years, like all these like repeat offenders, like for violent crimes. I remember seeing something a few months ago where this guy, it was on tape, and he had stolen a high-end car, and he was ramming into police cruisers and stuff on the streets of Toronto or something. And it turned out like he had been involved in multiple police chases, multiple crimes, and all the resources that were used to like track him down. And yet again, he was out there causing mayhem on our streets. And that's what it's like in our urban centers now. And it's hard for us to believe, but it's true.
What I don't understand is the people who eat up like the leftist propaganda, where wanting these basic things out of a country, like safety, justice, and how they made that all equated it all into Nazism or some form of nationalism. Like, nationalism is a bad thing. Having pride in your country is a bad thing. I really don't understand the people who drink that Kool-Aid,
I don't either. I really don't. And I don't know what it's going to take to sort of bring those people around. I almost think that, it would almost take something to happen to them personally. And I don't want that to have to happen to them personally. Like, I don't understand if people are they're unreflective about their views, or unreflective about their opinions and how they affect.
Or maybe they're just part of societies that get shielded from these things, essentially.
Yeah, and I think
like living
it's
in gated communities and
Yeah, like the people, the hypocritical people that we see all over the place who advocate open borders but live in a gated community with a giant 20-foot wall around their mansion. Like and it's important, I think, metapolitically for podcasts like us and others to point out those discrepancies and
Hypocrisies.
those hypocrisies. And I think that's a real key to getting people to kind of change their minds about some of these policies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's keep going because we're actually running out of time. Let's see what the other parties reacted to the drop of the writ, as they say.
Yeah.
Where is that? Carney. Oh, here it is. So these are the two of the other parties.
I'm covering the New Democrats. The main message at the campaign launch in Ottawa is that the NDP is the best party
our favorite
to protect workers
NDPer
during this time of economic upheaval.
Even before Donald Trump started his greedy trade war, times were tough. And we fought to make things better for you and your family. Paid sick days and laws to protect you at work, that was us.
This guy.
Dental care. Dental care, so you don't have to choose between living in pain and buying groceries. That was us.
This election is consequential not only for Canadians, but for Singh himself. This will be his third federal campaign. And if the party does as badly as polls suggest, there will be serious questions about whether he can stay on as leader.
You realize that I think recently we learned that the party is like near broke.
That's right.
The NDP is like near broke. I think they've sank to a predicted 7 seats.
Yeah.
I
mean, like, have we ever seen a more servile, a more subservient politician in the history of Canada than Jagmeet Singh? I don't know if we have. I mean, at every turn, he supported the incumbent Liberals. He supported Trudeau over 200 times in the House of Commons and over 200 votes of confidence. Of non-confidence. Yeah, like he could have brought down the government over 200 times when we could have had election and we could have ended this madness, but he instead chose to stay on for self-serving reasons. Like
got his pension.
He got his pension. And as you said, the NDP as a party have been in financial difficulty for some time now. That was self-serving too. And
I heard somewhere they had spent $500,000 on the last campaign.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive Jagmeet Singh for his complicity with the federal Liberals. Like, I don't think I ever, and I think it just goes to show their plummeting popularity. And a lot of the NDP core supporters are not happy with the way he's dealt with the Liberals and his performance over the last
talking about
years.
the how the rich people don't care, and he's a rich person himself. He drives around in a nice car. He wears nice suits.
The Maserati Marxist, remember that? That was awesome. Remember we showed that clip?
Like, what the hell? Why do these like socialists and communists have better stuff than I do?
Exactly. And I think it was in the House when the House was actually still sitting that I think Jagmeet Singh was like bad-mouthing Pierre Poilievre, which is something that he shouldn't have been doing because it was question period, but Pierre Poilievre just turned around and said, that's really rich coming from the Maserati Marxist, because there's that story about Jagmeet like driving his Maserati into the parking lot.
The man has a better car than most engineers I know, and the engineers should be making more money than this dude.
Exactly. He's a hypocrite, he's an idiot, and he's totally destroyed the NDP as any and the NDP used to be the party of the working man, but he has
the Labor Party essentially, right?
Yeah, and the NDP has abandoned their base, and they went all in with the Liberals, and the base is like, well, why should I even bother voting NDP if they're just going to give a blank check to the Liberals all the time? And and it looks good on him. And I'm glad the NDP is in dire straits.
Yeah.
And we just learned today that like they can't afford an airplane for him, so he's got to
he's busting it.
He's busting it.
I'm Mike Armstrong with the Bloc Québécois. Leader Yves-François Blanchet has a challenge ahead of him. Every other campaign since the Bloc was created has revolved around the issue of Quebec's voice and place in Canada. This time,
like, honestly, I'm from Quebec myself, and I never understood this party. I don't even know why they exist at a federal level, to tell you the truth. But anyways, they do.
Time around, if Trump's tariffs and threats are the ballot question, that hurts the Bloc.
I believe that in any instance, under any circumstance, one should never vote because of fear. One should try to find reason in what he or she hears or reads. Les prochaines semaines.
Blanchet's campaign motto, introduced with this ad last week, is I choose Quebec. The question is whether Quebecers will choose a Quebec-centric party when.
You know, it's the one thing I can't stand about Quebec is the fact that, you know, they're only Canadian. They're only Canadian when it's convenient. You know.
Yeah.
And they draw such a big load on the redistribution payments from the federal. You know, they're the biggest load basically. They contribute nothing to that grid. You know. That's
true.
And it's just a freaking shame from somebody who actually comes from the province. You know.
Yeah, and just to reiterate what you said there, Weathers, when we talk about equalization payments in Canada, Confederation is just in a nutshell. Revenue is generated by the provinces. It goes centrally to the federal government, and then it's redistributed in the terms of transfer payments to the different provinces depending upon need. I know we talked about that before, and Quebec is always the biggest drain on that relationship in terms of equalization.
And it's such a hypocrisy because they constantly say how, you know, they're worth their own sovereignty, and they're constantly wanting to separate from Canada, and yet they draw the biggest off those equalization payments.
That's right. Do you remember that show in the 1990s? I think it was called Air Farce, and they had one of the actors was playing the separatist.
Oh yeah. What's his name?
Bouchard or something?
Bouchard. Yeah.
And the scenario in this sketch they were doing, they won the federal election, and they're like, "So you've won the federal election. Are you going to separate from Quebec now?" And he was like, "No. What would be the point?" So, and it was so funny. I just thought that now when you said and it's true. It's why does a separatist party running federally that only runs in Quebec even exist? And it's really funny. It's one of those quirks of our.
I honestly would like to believe for once, you know, most Quebecois would actually think about who they're going to vote for and actually, you know, not be more Canadian, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, for once.
And
you know,
I almost think that I have a feeling that most Quebecers don't even take separation seriously.
No, they don't.
They'll vote for the party.
At least the ones I know.
Yeah, I mean,
I've encountered a lot of these actual separatists. I've actually encountered one at some club, inter-university club, who came into our sect of the club and basically declared that he was very insulted that everybody was speaking English in this English university, you know, kind of thing. So they exist. That guy exists, but anyways.
Yeah, and some of them are hardcore, but them going out on Quebec, leaving Confederation and going out on its own isn't really sustainable. What are they don't produce anything.
No, and anybody who believes that that's even possible, low IQ, what can I say?
Yeah.
They do exist. So unfortunately a lot of them exist here. So, you know. Anyways, so that's that was the block. And then of course, for some odd reason, we want to. Carney even seems that they're worth mentioning is the Green Party.
Oh yeah, the Green Party. Our favorite.
Remember those guys?
Our favorite wackos.
Oh yeah, they're very special. I used to this is the party that Doug Henning used to head at one point. Doug Henning, the magician, if anybody remembers that from the 90s or 80s. So here they are.
It's hilarious.
Oh, sorry, not that one. Stop sharing. Wrong one. This one. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that.
No
Something
problem.
personal there. Share screen. Here. There we go. All right. So this is the this is the Green Party. All 2 members of them.
Yeah.
Right. And somehow Carney thought that they were worth mentioning. So let's see why they're worth mentioning.
Chers amis, dear friends, what an extraordinary time. Quel temps extraordinaire qu'on est en train de vivre.
We're exhausted, crushed by what is happening.
Privé de paix d'esprit.
And this is affecting our spirit.
To be grateful. To
Debbie Downer over here. Jeez.
down, deep down.
Well,
we know that this isn't working. And we're not imagining things. This system is rigged. And it is rigged against us. Là, va falloir dire les choses.
Like, seriously, I'd like to know, where do these people come from that they actually have seats in Parliament? You know?
Yeah, like I remember in past years, like the entire Green Party platform was geared around getting, just through sheer force of will, trying to get Elizabeth May her seat. But it turns out
And that's her over here.
Yeah, Elizabeth May on the right, and she's pretty funny. Like she's had some like high profile kind of like incidents where she's been intoxicated and at public events and stuff. The one time I actually gave her some credit was when I was watching the Jody Wilson-Raybould committee hearings back when that was going on, and she gave Michael Wernick a hard time. I was like, oh, good for you, Elizabeth May, but she's pretty erratic as a leader.
Well,
and the Green Party itself.
Le nouveau FNB.
That was weird. Sorry about that. Hang on.
No, it's okay. And the Green Party itself has been pretty kind of up and down lately. They've had some internal fights and stuff like that. But I didn't even recognize this new guy. But apparently,
yeah. Well, he's number 2. Well, number 1 or number. I can't even. They're co-leading apparently. You know, there's only 2 of them. And they're there's a co-leadership going on. But anyways, let's hear a bit of Elizabeth May. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Because I saw most of it and she gets pretty whacked.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you to all Canadians who this morning are waiting for the time of the Greens.
To be in this election more than ever, and I say this to the other political party leaders who are also speaking to Canadians this morning. Despite the fact that we're in an election, we have to remain Team Canada. Yeah. We have to be strong together because there is a threat. There's a threat, and there's a threat. It's not just one person. Just as Jonathan just said, the solutions.
Mikerowaveable, we found another one. Found another one, man.
Yeah, there's two right there.
Well, I don't know about him too much, but you know her. Like
for Canada, don't rest in one leader or one party, but all of us, tout le monde ensemble. C'est nécessaire.
Everyone together.
But there's not just
that's
one
what we need.
Threat, one person whose name is Trump. There's a global billionaire class of oligarchs who.
Surprisingly, I have a feeling she's talking about the WEF, right?
It sounds like she's explaining, like she's describing them to a T, but she's talking about someone else. You could probably guess who.
Really? Yeah, but it's a group of what was he just talking about? Trump and his buddies and stuff?
Oh, I think that isn't she like. I thought she was describing about to describe Trump and Elon Musk.
I don't know,
but it sounds like she could.
Yeah, a lot of Democrats are actually doing that. So
yeah,
well, I wouldn't be. They are the Green Party, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're actually against the other. Anyways, I don't know.
Who seek to destroy democracies all around the world. So, Team Canada, what does it look like in an election?
I'm pretty sure she's talking about the WEF.
Interesting.
Because Musk isn't. He only destroys America according to the Democrats. So
that's right.
You know, that's just me. That's just me. So let's keep playing.
So many Canadians ask me, they say, I've stopped buying anything from the United States. I'm buying Canadian. I've canceled my vacation in the United States. What else can I do? C'est pour ça, il y a une réponse Votez. On doit
We can get out and
voter.
vote. We have to
It's going
vote.
to be an election that matters like never before. Voter turnout in this country has been declining. This time, it's your patriotic duty to vote. Every single Canadian 18 years and older, get out and vote. 18 years and older, get out and run. This is an election where, as Jonathan has said, vote like your country depends on it. Vote like your planet depends on it. Vote like your future depends on it. Let's have the highest voter turnout in the history of Canada. Take that, Trump. We're a country. We vote. We're proud citizens. And we will stand together against.
I mean, it's great that she has, like, let's get out and vote. And she's encouraging, like, young people to go out and vote. Because, yes, I think it's very important that the young youth this time around, if you're eligible to vote, they should get out there and vote. You know, but yeah. She goes off the rails.
She's crazy. Oh my god.
let's keep going.
Oh my god.
So anyway, so those were the major launches. Somehow, for some odd reason, the Green Party is kind of important because Mark Carney acknowledges them for some odd reason, even though I believe she's talking about the WEF. That, you know, anyways, she sounded like she was talking about the WEF, but anyways. So
well, you know what? That's what I think is so funny. Like, I think she described the WF to a T, but I thought she was really talking about Trump and Musk. But it doesn't matter. It's just so funny.
Oh, I know.
Oh my
so
God.
anyways, that night, to keep going, we'll bring this up next. Poilievre actually did a major rally in North York, a very liberal part of Toronto, apparently, and all that. So this is the pleb, and he's actually a really popular YouTuber in Canada. He's been mostly following the conservative movement. And actually, if you look into some interviews, he did an interview recently with Viva Frey, another popular podcaster who moved from Montreal to Florida, of all places. But anyways, where he revealed, I already knew this, but he revealed he was actually the architect of Chandra Aria's run for prime minister or leadership of the Liberal Party. He got, apparently there were the 400,000 Liberal voters who were eligible, who signed up to vote for the Liberal leadership, got whittled down to roughly 175,000 voters. The remainder of those voters were apparently supporters for Chandra Arias that he basically orchestrated through the internet.
That is so funny. That is hilarious. It's like, you know, it honestly comes off as like a 4chan troll, like, of the Liberal Party to me, and it's hilarious. And he
was almost successful. He got disqualified, but because the Liberals started freaking out, they realized that, oh my God, you know, they're coming through. They're coming through the walls, man. We gotta do something.
We gotta get rid of them, man. Yeah, and they did that. They did that with Aria, and they did that with Ruby Dalla because they had like similar they both had popular support, and the Liberal Party was like, we're not gonna do that, and they disqualified them both. It's so funny.
Well, the rumor is that they nailed them on like election interference, foreign election interference, because somehow they're connected with the Prime Minister of India, Modi, I believe. And Modi's no fan of Trudeau.
Yeah, that's right.
Just putting it out there.
That's
anyways.
True. Ever since
there seems to be a hate relationship that developed ever since Trudeau went on his trip to India.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, the pleb was at the rally in North York, and I basically clipped out a good part of his 2-part, 2 hours each podcast of the day, where he actually highlighted of how many people actually came to this rally in North York in a very liberal section of Toronto, I believe. So let's play.
Hey, are you guys enjoying this live stream right now? Is this entertaining? What? Are you guys having fun? I'm seeing a lot of, I want to see some Canada flags in the chat. Let's go. This rally's about to start. I want to see some Canada chats some Canada flags in the chat.
You want me to credit you on
Or else I'm not moving. People writing 51. Where's the Canadian flags? Let's go. All right, Canadian flags in the chat. People getting ready for this rally here. We are pumped. We're pumped up right now. Yes, thank you, Pleb. Look at all these Canadian flags.
Probably should.
All right.
Anyways, there he goes.
I'm officially working for. I'm not working for free anymore. Thank you guys. Appreciate that.
We love you, Pleb.
Do you?
Yeah.
What's your name?
These are all people lined up for the rally.
What's your names?
I'm Army as in military.
Yes. Thank you for your service. What's your name?
Kim.
What? Kim.
Yes.
Nice to meet you guys. You excited?
Yes.
My question for you is, do you believe the polls right now when you see the lineups out of the hotel right now to get into this rally? Do you believe the polling numbers? Do you think Pierre Poilievre is going to win?
Bigger than Carney's entire rally.
Yeah. Sure. No, I don't. No.
No polls?
I don't listen to them.
Chat, do you believe the polls, chat, right now?
They are paying more money to clear the poll. That's the thing. They are paying more money for the...
Well, they just said a poll that came out, Liaison apparently has ties to the CCP. I don't know if you guys saw that. Look at this. Look how excited people are. Look at the energy right now. Bring it home. Let's go. Bring it home. 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 Women for Pierre Poilievre. What is? Let's go.
The left's entire narrative just shattered.
The real Canada is here tonight, folks. The real Canada is here tonight. I'm so proud of everyone. Hey, bring it home.
Bring it home.
You see that?
Bring it home.
Bring it home.
Bring it home.
Let's go.
Bring it home. Bring it home.
Bring it home. Bring it home.
Oh, he's got the Pierre book here.
Bring it home.
Oh wow, the where's the funds?
Where's the funds?
Where is the funds? This guy's dripping in the merch. All right, let's go. That will maybe fund some hair plugs for me and a nice trip to Turkey one day. Thank you, appreciate that. All right. All right, keep it moving. Keep it moving. All right, guys, we gotta go see upstairs. Let's see if this lineup has officially gone into the parking lot. Okay? Look at this.
Hey, man.
All right. How's it going? How's it going?
How are you doing?
Let's go.
How many streamers do you have?
We have 3,700 people watching right now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes. Joe!
Brother?
My Canada First brother.
Welcome to Toronto, brother. Welcome
Oh,
to
man.
Toronto. Good to see you,
Unfortunately.
So,
No, just kidding.
So we're going to bring it home or what, bud?
We're bringing it home. We're bringing it home.
Let's go.
And you know, what do you think about Pierre talking about a little bit?
You notice like the different people who are lined up for this?
Oh yeah, like it's a great rate, and it's like a real. You can just tell that it's a real populist movement, right? Because when you contrast this event with all the people queued up, lined up, and there's energy versus the very tightly controlled Carney press events where it's like the atmosphere is like a morgue, and you don't get. We're not seeing the same lineups for Carney because there aren't any, and like it's a different it's a different operational way of doing things. It's a different campaign, whereas Poilievre, and to their credit, the Conservatives have tapped into their base, right? So they're appealing to the citizens, to the people, and that's why people are going out in droves here. And you can feel the energy, right? And compared to Carney, like he's not getting the support, and the atmosphere is dead for Carney's events, and it's really reminiscent of. I'm not saying it's on the same scale, but it's really reminiscent of Trump-style national populism and Biden, Hillary Clinton elite campaigns, right? When you look at Trump, you look at Trump's use of mass rallies and social media, the alternative media more so like podcasts and stuff now, versus Carney and people like Biden and Clinton who are using legacy media and tight control.
It's an exact
and completely different, and it's from each other. And Pierre's doing it right this time. This has been brilliant so far, and we just got started. Really successful event, right?
I want to keep playing because
more about immigration these last couple days.
Well, we've all been pushing them. So
is that the pivot we were looking for?
Let's keep going.
Do you think Pierre's going to lose this election when you see the size of this lineup here?
No way. No way.
Look at that. All right. Go outside. Is the lineup outside here? Oh, it's a little chilly. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay, guys. Yo, there's literally a lineup outside the hotel. So we just went outside the hotel right here.
It goes all the way over there.
Holy shit. I am the pleb.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What's your name?
I'm Nicholas. I watch your videos every day.
Whoa! Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Okay, yeah, look at these lineup. Look at this. Oh my God, hype them up. Asian hype man, let's go. Hype up the line. How big is it? Let's go. Look at this. Look at this. Let's go. Where's the energy? Look at this.
Yes.
Look, we're outside.
For Prime Minister.
Here for Prime Minister. I like this guy so well. Guys, look at this. Holy shit. Look at this line. It keeps going. Thank you. Look how.
The pleb. Go.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Yo, man. Are you guys even looking at you like, what the hell is going on right now? It's the pleb.
What's going on, buddy? I love you.
Thank you. Come give me a hug, bro. Nice. Keep it moving. My God.
It's going all the way.
Canada first. Let's bring it home. Let's go.
A picture with you, man.
Okay, we're going to take another picture chat.
But anyways, you get the idea. So there was this event on Sunday in North York, the day that the election got declared, and all these people were lined up, and not all of them got in.
Yeah.
Like a good amount of them did not get in.
Yeah.
And apparently they handed all these people like merch, like Poilievre's merch and PC merch and stuff. So they got something out of it, but still, like this was in like the middle of a liberal stronghold.
That's awesome. And it starts off, it's like, this is a great start for Poilievre and the Conservatives. Like and it's really, I think it reveals some inaccuracies in the polling. I think some of the polls that we've seen already really have inflated liberal support. And I think that the Conservatives have to really ride this momentum, and everybody has to get out and vote, because this is going to be won at the ballot box, just like the Republicans under Trump. Trump Republicans destroyed the Democrats at the ballot box, and we have to do the very same as Conservatives. We have to. And this is great to see this popular support. I mean,
well, not even as Conservatives, as populists, really.
Yeah,
that's what really they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Government by the people.
That's right, and that's
or the
what
people by the people.
And you can see that when he was in the lineup there, when he talked to the fellow in the red hat and the plaid, like the red, and like he was saying stuff about immigration. And Pierre has mentioned certain things during his rallies about the Liberals' irresponsibility as far as immigration is concerned. He even mentioned the Century Initiative and Weissman being an advisor to Carney, who is part of the Century Initiative. And the Century Initiative.
What is the Century Initiative?
The Century Initiative is it's technically I think it's a nonprofit. I think they might be designated as a charity. I'll have to check that. But they're essentially a lobby group of professionals who are pushing the idea of ballooning Canada's population to 100 million people by the year 2100. And there's one of these guys who is the founder. I think it's Mark Weissman, isn't his name?
Yes.
Was the founder of the Century Initiative, and he's part of Carney's team now. He's going to be part of like his council on U.S.-Canada relations or something like that.
But actually, we got something on this Mark Weissman. Let me play it.
Oh yeah, sorry, I jumped the gun there.
No, it's cool. It's cool because I wasn't actually planning to play it, but now that we're actually talking about it, let's play it.
Yeah.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here. As many of you know, I helped found the Century Initiative over a decade ago, with the belief that the right approach to growth. With that approach, Canada could enhance its economic strength and resilience, and ultimately increase prosperity for all Canadians. In recent years, the conversation around population growth, and particularly immigration, has become more prominent, and in the last year, more divisive than we could have anticipated. While there is still broad agreement that Canada must grow its population, including through immigration, recent challenges from an influx of temporary foreign workers and international students, and I'll come back to that specifically, has put massive pressure on our infrastructure and housing resources.
So, anyways, we've established that he basically wants to grow the population of Canada to what sounds like a really ridiculous amount, even though it's like way off into 2100, basically 50 years from now or so, or a little more than that. 75 years.
75 years, yeah.
Right. So,
for
what purpose do you think this is for?
Well, exactly. It's completely irresponsible. I mean, someone like this and the Century Initiative, they're all, everybody who's on the board, including Weissman himself, they're all highly educated, but their purported motivation is to have like this giant workforce that will be like to turn Canada into this economic juggernaut with this giant labor force, but it's completely irresponsible. And one fellow in the independent media wrote an article about them, and the Century Initiative envisages these huge metropolitan areas of tens of millions of people in Toronto, Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal, Calgary, Edmonton, in these vast, I don't know, I think of them as like hive cities, dystopian hive cities a la Judge Dredd. And this Weissman fellow here has been in public talking about how we shouldn't even vet newcomers. We should just open the doors completely and bring in as many people as we can. And that was an expose that Juno News just did. And I think Juno News is picking up on some of the researches by people in the independent, like even more independent, smaller independent media and research about how irresponsible that is. And doesn't that seem familiar? Doesn't that seem familiar? Like it's part of the globalist program, right? Like everywhere globalists go, they bring that sensibility of unfettered, open borders immigration that has.
Where have I heard that word before? Open borders.
Yeah, open borders.
It sounds so familiar. It's like you'd think these people would be a little more, I don't know, creative,
Yeah, and they're showing their hand, and it would be interesting to see who actually backs these guys, like financially and all the rest of it, because it would mean a complete change of Canada's culture. It would have terrible implications for social cohesion and
we have trouble enough getting houses for ourselves now, but of course this is not in their plan. We're going to be living in tubes apparently.
Yeah, you'll own nothing and be happy, right? It's so reminiscent of those talking points that people like Klaus Schwab and George Soros are very keen on. And it's not a conspiracy theory when it's happening in almost every Western country. And this guy, Weissman, that we see here, is now part of the Carney team. And it just goes to show what we're going to be in for if Carney gets in as prime minister. It'll be more open borders, right? And during the last 5 years, the Liberals have been importing like this huge amount of people And when all is said and done, between people who are applying for visas, international students, and permanent residents, we're getting into the million or 2 million people a year. This is an influx that we can't handle, and people like this are crazy. And you can see
it's quite
this,
upsetting.
It is upsetting, and you can see this malign nexus between both the left and the right, where advocates like vulture capitalist rightists who just want to bring in people to inflate GDP numbers, and leftists who have this complex kind of justification for replacement migration. But in the end, the people who lose, we lose, Canada loses, the citizens lose, because there's no way something like that is sustainable.
And we can't sustain it in housing. We can't sustain it in basic essentials that everybody actually needs. But of course, they're trying to make us go with less.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand what this actually means, I mean, look at a country like India that has a massive population.
That's right.
Right. Look at how much it costs over there to hire a team of people to do all kinds of technical things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't cost a lot because there are so many people there. And that's
right.
essentially what globalists want. They want a cheaper labor force.
Yeah,
and the way that they're going to fix that in countries like ours is to basically overpopulate us.
Yeah.
And
that's a huge factor. And even it's interesting that JD Vance recently had a speech. I can't remember what event it was, but he said something to the effect that the industrialized West has become addicted to cheap labor. And it's true. And I think from a labor perspective alone, it's so detrimental because it depresses wages. And it's
almost destroyed America because they've moved all their manufacturing off to China and India.
That's right.
Right. And then it took COVID to make them realize, like, oh, this could be a bad idea because now we rely on all these other countries to make our stuff. And right now we got refused a whole bunch of things. We got a whole bunch of supply chains broken.
Yeah.
And we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, and exactly. And Trump and the Trumpian program, he's going against that trend. Like, he's repatriating manufacturing. He's emphasizing the need to hire American workers. And that's what we need to do here. And that's what Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives have been emphasizing already in their campaign. And Pierre Poilievre even mentioned Weissman's appointment by Carney. Poilievre talked about the Century Initiative and the reckless irresponsibility of mass migration on the scale these guys are talking about. And that's great. And that's what the people want from, and you could see the vast range of different peoples that have been at Pierre Poilievre's rallies. They want him to implement these things when he gets in.
Well, apparently, one of the things I heard, I think it was Pleb had mentioned it, is that the people who want like these restrictions on immigration the most are legally landed immigrants.
Yeah,
who
and that
worked
makes
hard
sense.
to actually achieve their citizenship.
That makes sense,
like my
right?
parents.
Yeah, like that makes sense, right? Because like they kind of like people traditionally have come to Canada for a better life. They don't want and a lot of times they're fleeing from conditions they don't want to see happen here. And it makes sense that that they want to live in Canada, that has that we have restrictions on immigration, and we have the opportunity for people to buy houses and have good jobs and stuff like that, right? So
where we don't have to live in the tubes and eat bugs and stuff
eat
because we don't have
bugs,
enough food.
You will eat the bugs and be happy. Whatever Klaus Schwab says, yeah.
So
And
let's keep
I
going.
think it's positive.
Yeah, no, I mean, no doubt. I mean, I would definitely go for this over what this dude's,
Me
kind of
too.
pushing on us and stuff for sure. So anyways, because of the campaigns now in full swing, we start getting like these ads. So this is a Carney ad that he recently released.
It's bullies. This is what I can't stand in the world. And we're the country that stands up to bullies. Yeah. And I hope, and I know that you will, but I hope we continue to be the good guys.
What does Canada mean to you? Like, how does it?
Canada means everything. I wouldn't be anything without Canada.
For people who don't know who this is Mike Meyers, like basically Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, excellent.
The comedian Mike Meyers, who plays Shrek. You know, that Mike Meyers.
Yeah.
Who lives in California, most likely.
Wayne and Garth.
Mike Meyers. You know, probably well-to-do, and you know what? He got paid for this too.
I know. I find it so sad because like I've always liked Mike Myers. In the past, I really loved Wayne's World. I liked Shrek, and I just find it so disappointing that he decided to say yes to this. Oh my goodness.
Chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways,
so
they don't talk about anything that we're really concerned about. This is totally focused on bullies, and guess who that bully is supposed to, represent? And how this guy over here is supposed to stand up to the bullies. I'm not going to play the rest of the commercial because it sickens me. So
yeah,
you okay with that?
Yo, yeah, I'm 100% on board. Like it's so sad. And yeah, like it just goes to show that the liberals are wrapping themselves in anti-Americanism big time, and they're just ramping it up. And that's all they can really run their campaign on. And they're pulling out all the stops.
I'll play a bit of something Poilievre came out, and this is where he actually talks about something that's really important to us.
2007, a Canadian company discovered a gold mine. Yes, a literal gold mine. Almost 500 kilometers north of Thunder Bay, this company's scientists discovered one of the largest untapped areas for rare earth metals in the world. Buried under their feet was tens of billions of dollars of critical minerals like chromite, cobalt, nickel, copper, platinum, and gold, resources the entire world is desperate for. It's called the Ring of Fire, and it could make Canada very rich. It would be life-changing for Northern Ontario towns, galvanized by thousands of paychecks and modern infrastructure. It would also help our First Nations become richer. It would boost our economy with billions of dollars, allowing us to become less dependent on the Americans after we start selling these resources to our friends and allies overseas. And it would turn dollars for dictators into paychecks for our people, no longer having to rely on Beijing for the metals that create our batteries, turbines, solar panels, and satellites. You might be asking yourself a question at this point. We've known about the Ring of Fire for years, so why hasn't a single mine opened? Why hasn't a single road been built or a single worker handed a paycheck? The answer? The Liberals did everything in their power to keep these minerals in the ground. They've been sitting on Ring of Fire permits for 5
So yes, so he's been actually putting these really well-produced videos, making his point. Yeah, why the hell have we not mined the Ring of Fire?
Yeah. And it's one of yet another theme of our show that we've been talking about for the last 12 episodes, right? That the Liberals completely hostile to these projects. I mean, Canada has been really, I think Canada for the most part has been pretty good stewards of the environment, yet the Liberal regime has made the environmental assessment process, and that's just one example, so rigorous and so prohibitive that they, in order to just completely stall these projects, and they did it in a very malicious way, to put all this red tape in front of these guys so that they had to jump through all these bureaucratic hoops just to start these projects that we really need to start.
With the current process, I think it literally takes 25 years to get a mining permit.
Yeah, that's what I read too. Why would a company or a series of companies go through that when they know Like Kevin O'Leary when he was on with Candice Malcolm, like he was talking about that a lot of these companies, they know like we're just gonna like move elsewhere, we're going to take our business elsewhere because the liberal regime was just so impossible to deal with. And this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. So yeah. So moving on. We have here. Both of the main candidates have, I've got all kinds of videos. There are 3 rallies so far. The one the Poilievre has actually, and they were all pretty well stacked. I mean, like I could play them, but we're running out of time on some stuff I actually want to go through. So one of the things that that actually really impressed me about Poilievre and his campaigning style is this.
Yes, sir.
I believe he did this Monday morning.
Hi there. How are you? Good to see you. What's your name, sir?
Reno.
Reno. Just out today with Nita.
Hi, how you doing? I'm a local candidate here. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
I'm Caroline.
Caroline, good to see you.
Hi, Nita. Nice to meet you.
Well, they were taking the dogs for a walk, and he said saw the bus, and I came up to say hello.
Oh, amazing.
They look like they're conservatives.
But no, those are ours.
Beautiful dogs. Thank you. They must eat a lot, though.
They do. Yeah.
Can I say hello to those dogs?
Sure.
They're very beautiful.
Isn't that amazing? Like, do you see Mark Carney doing this?
No, not at all.
No.
And that is such a marked difference between the two of them, right? Like we saw shortly after Mark Carney's video shoot with the Edmonton Oilers, he went and had a press event with some steel workers in Edmonton, and it was completely different. He didn't know what to do. He didn't even say hello to them. He even sort of waved to them with the back of his hand, and all the workers look like they didn't even want to be there. And he's so wooden and awkward with regular people. And Pierre Poilievre is the exact opposite. He's really good at working crowds.
He's walking the streets of neighborhoods.
Yeah, and he's really good with
and he's talking to regular people. And
it's night and day, right?
No, this is a man I want for prime minister. Really.
Yeah, me
not
too.
the banking administrator.
No, I agree. Like he actually has he actually looks like he's like Pierre's really good with people, and he's I know we're talking about an election, but he just seems like he likes people, unlike Carney, who has nothing but contempt for people, and he turns everybody right off, like even people that are supposed to be on his side.
Well, we'll play 2 Carney what do you call it, campaign clips. So here's one. I believe
Put
this
us
is in
a strong
East Coast
position. See, this is a fundamental mistake that the Americans are making. They think they will weaken us. They think that they can own us, quite frankly. That's what they think. We are going to get stronger. We are going to wait this out. They're going to come to the table, and we're going to negotiate a good deal for the Canadians.
This is his like negotiation tactic with Trump. He's literally laying it out right there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to him until he acknowledges that we're a real country.
Yeah.
And you know what? Trump's not going to care.
No, Trump. Yeah, Trump's already said multiple times, like, I don't care who wins.
He can wait. He can wait till his term is done to talk to this guy. He doesn't care. Trump doesn't care.
Exactly.
And he's going to take the position that he's not going to talk to Trump. This is the guy you liberals are going to vote for to deal with Trump. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. He's an empty suit. And it's like another morgue-like atmosphere with like hand-picked people behind him. Yeah.
Nope. Where's the crowd?
Where's the crowd? There's nobody there.
No, there's a cop and 2 women.
Yeah. it's just
It seems to be a
pathetic.
liberal thing, for some odd reason.
Yeah, it's really contrived again, like controlled environment. And the liberals, like we've heard, even at this early stage of the campaign, that they're trying to control who even knows where Carney is having his events. They've scrubbed the itinerary from the Prime Minister's website, which is kind of handy when you want to figure out where he is on any given day. And you don't get that same populist feel that Pierre Poilievre's events are that Pierre's events have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another one where he's been asked. Okay, so there's going to be a debate, one in French, one in English, on the 17th and 18th, I believe. Now, the Liberals have actually said that Mark Carney is not attending the French debate.
That's right.
The Prime Minister of Canada is not attending the French debate in a bilingual country where the two main languages are French and English.
Yeah.
And he's not attending one of them because he's afraid that most likely Poilievre is going to destroy him in the French debate.
And they made a bunch of excuses for why he's not attending.
Oh yeah, we can actually hear it. Let's hear it. It's going to be in French, but we can translate.
Martin de Radio-Canada. Hier, sur le débat de TVA, vous nous avez dit pourquoi pas. Finalement, vous n'y allez pas. Qu'est-ce qui vous a fait changer d'idée? Est-ce que c'est parce que, selon ce que dit M. Blanchette, vous vous cachez?
Non, j'ai dit...
Okay, so let's translate. So basically, the reporter asked him, it said that you're not going to be attending the French debate. And Mr. Blanchette, he's the leader of the bloc, basically because you're hiding.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're in that, and the reporter here was referring to like a question posed. It was probably like the day before when Carney said "Pourquoi pas?" Like, why not? Of course, in other words, of course I'll attend the event. And then they flip flopped and said, no, Carney's not going to attend.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
And it's because, and they made up a bunch of excuses, and it's because his French is absolutely terrible, and everybody knows it.
Well, despite that, you're the leader of the country who's saying that you're going to stand up to Trump, and you're afraid to go duke it out, on a French debate.
Yep.
And you're the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yep. Doesn't bode well, does it?
No, it really doesn't. It's like, who the hell do you think you are, man? Like, if he was anybody else, he would be talked to the nines, about how un-Prime Minister is that? Or how un-Canadian that is.
You imagine if Pierre Poilievre skipped a French debate? Holy cow, we'd still be hearing about it.
It would be the end of his career.
That's right. And the other thing about this event that someone pointed out, like someone like on Twitter, like zoomed in behind Carney and everybody in the crowd behind him looks like they're completely disinterested and completely
I think they're paid to be there. I don't know about you.
I think they could be paid. They're all paid.
I think this is on their dime. I think they've just been just been told to be there, and they're going to be on the clock if they're going to be there. I'm not sure.
They hired all these NPCs just to stand there and look like their dog died. It's terrible.
Look, look at them. Do you see any enthusiasm?
None.
It's
really telling, right? Like even if we were just I know I'm a biased observer, but you can feel like just how bleak and terrible this is.
No, here, if people need a reminder of what it's like to be at a Poilievre rally, let's play the North York one. Or you know what? Let's play the one at Stone Creek, which happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we already know how many people were already at that North York Liberal stronghold, right? You saw all the people wrapped around the building. And so, little difference here. This crowd was slightly larger. indoors in the arena. So here's what it looks like.
Yeah, this is pretty rocking.
And notice in all of these rallies, he's constantly bringing his family up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, do you know anything about Carney's wife?
No.
Do you even remember what she looks like?
I don't even remember.
Has she ever even spoken for him?
I only remember her from wearing like a red pantsuit at the Liberal leadership convention. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a Pierre Poilievre rally that happened last night.
Yeah.
You know, and as we were saying, and as I was saying before, on top of that, when we were talking about wives here, so let's even talk about that. Where is that? This was at the North York rally. This is Anna Poilievre, Pierre Poilievre's wife, introducing her husband.
Bonsoir! Good evening! Bonsoir le Canada! Nous y voici! Nous y sommes arrivés. Maintenant, c'est le temps. Valentina, elle est contente.
Born of immigrant parents, and did you notice her French?
Very good, excellent.
Yeah. Even she could debate Mark Carney.
Oh yeah.
In French.
She'd like run circles around him.
Il est maintenant le temps. Il est venu le temps où nous devons choisir. Si nous voulons donner un 4e mandat au parti qui nous a mis dans une situation économique vulnérable.
This is the wife of Pierre Poilievre introducing him before his talk, his speech. Did you ever see Mark Carney's wife do that?
No.
No.
I don't think she ever did. I think during the Liberal leadership convention, I remember it was Carney's daughter introduced him, but his wife was there just sort of looking kind of stone-faced for most of it. And the interesting thing is like the implicit emphasis on family and the importance of family, which I really like. And it's something that is the building block of our society. And and a lot of
importance
people
on kids. Children.
Kids. And his
pride
kids
in your
there.
children.
And I think that's important, right? To bring across that that's
most of effing Canada.
Yeah, and that's real people. And contrast that with Carney, who, I mean, in the last 2 weeks, there have been reports about Carney sending his daughter/son to the Tavistock Institute for transgender butchery or whatever, and
wow,
that's something that really is in marked contrast to Pierre Poilievre's genuine family. The importance of family, right? And people think that's harsh to bring up, but it's important to bring up. And Juno News has done an expose on that, because I think it is important. It really speaks to the fact that these globalist types are really keen on transhumanism, transgenderism, and that sort of madness that we don't need. And it goes against what Pierre stands for in populism. And that's my opinion too.
Well, on top of that, I mean, he is constantly only talking about what a bully the Americans are. We're in this situation because Trump had basically did this to us, and I'm here to act against him. And in every chance that he had to basically explain how he's going to do that, he basically says, "Well, I'm not going to talk to him."
Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't understand these people who vote for him thinking that he's going to deal with Trump, like with that attitude.
Yeah, he'd be terrible. Trump will
actually, since you did mention him earlier, I believe in this part of the Candice Malcolm interview with Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah.
They did talk about that, so I'll bring that up next.
You mentioned that Mark Carney will try to.
What was that? Sorry.
No, Anna did. His wife did a good job there introducing him, and after that, like I was watching it live, that rally, and Pierre's speech was really good. Like he hit all those points. He even talked about the Century Initiative, and the crowd was like, "Boo!" And it's amazing that the crowd was informed. Like the voters know
all these people. You saw all the people in that crowd.
Yeah.
And you know what? All the people who are watching this show and don't know about this and don't know anything about Pierre Poilievre, go look at his rallies. You know, I can play them, but they'll be basically the same thing over and over again. All these people believe in him.
Yeah, and you know what? And there's a bit of positivity. There's excitement in the air, and Pierre's smiling. Like, heaven forbid a candidate be personable and smile, because Carney, whenever he smiles, he looks sinister, and he hardly even does it.
He's literally Mr. Burns, man.
He is. Oh my God.
Let's play this, and then I have one last clip after that. So let's play this.
To run the campaign against Donald Trump. I just want to play this quick clip, Kevin, and get you to react to it. So Mark Carney said that Danielle Smith's endorsement of Pierre Poilievre, so Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has come out and endorsed Pierre Poilievre. And Mark Carney says that endorsement indicates that Pierre Poilievre is aligned with Donald Trump. And so therefore a vote for Pierre Poilievre is a vote for Donald Trump. Let's play that clip and I'll get you to respond to it.
With respect to the Premier's comments, I take note of her alignment of Monsieur Poilievre with Mr. Trump, and would note that that's.
And I want to say something about Danielle Smith. She's the only provincial minister, head of the minister. What do they call it?
Premier.
Minister, right? Premier, right? Provincial premier, who's actually done anything useful about this trade war.
That's right. And
she. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
no, you're saying.
No, you're right. You're right about that. Like, she was down there early days. She was down there on inauguration day on January 20th. She was down in Washington. She was meeting with officials with the American government, trying to make Alberta's case in particular on behalf of Canada, because none of our federal officials were there. And the other thing that is really apparent is like the Liberals, Carney included, are really keen on this divide and conquer strategy, right? We're going to pit East versus West, Ontario, Quebec versus Alberta, Canada versus Trump and the United States, and they're trying to use these wedges to attack their enemies. And Carney was, doesn't that seem familiar, right? And he's trying to attack Poilievre and in the same way, and it's not going to work, right? Because I think a lot of people who have been paying attention, and there are a lot of people who have been paying attention, will recognize that Danielle Smith was, as you just said, she was doing a really good job.
She's doing a better job than this dude.
Yep. And she was doing a better job than our whole federal government. And I don't think it's going to work this time, and they love to pit. And the other thing I was going to say is that Candice Malcolm made that very same point when she was looking at the polling data. She was saying, look at what the Liberals have done in terms of dividing the country, because older people were more leaning towards the Liberals, whereas younger people were more leaning towards the Conservatives. And the Liberals have fomented all this divide and conquer bullshit within our own polity, within our own country. And they do that on purpose, to pit people against each other.
Yeah, it's a distraction. And he's doing it right here. And actually, if anybody doesn't know who Kevin O'Leary is, he's a very popular businessman, very successful businessman.
Yeah.
And if you're into TV, he's one of the evaluators on Shark Tank, I believe.
Yeah. And he was considering making a run for the Conservative leadership at one point many years ago.
He was. Yeah.
And he's friends with Danielle Smith, and I think he's friendly with Trump, because there's some pictures with
Well, he's in the States a lot doing his business, and he's actually been in the States because, like, the Canadian government has done nothing to support any of his endeavors.
That's right. Exactly.
So he's just being a businessman. But anyways, let's see what he has to say.
One of the decisions that Canadians will have to make, whether they want a government that is unified, that's standing up for Canada, and is taking focused action to build a better economy, or they want division and Americanism. And that's what Mr. Poilievre seems to be offering, and just endorsed by the Premier of Alberta.
So what do you make of that, Kevin?
I find that quite humorous, because a strong economy in Canada would be based on energy and energy exports. And Alberta has almost 4 times the reserves of the entire United States in just oil alone. And where do they export it to? The United States. It's the #1 trading partner. So to suggest that it would be a good idea to cut that off or not to engage with the largest trading partner during these difficult times would be very foolish. And I think in saying that, he is actually dividing Canada in negotiations with the US to purchase oil. You may recall, and I'll point this out, Danielle Smith actually was one of the first premiers to go to Washington before the inauguration, meet with Trump, and has been, I think, rewarded with a 10% tariff proposal, not a 25%. And yet Carney did something
not a conspiracy.
Back, I think, maybe months, if not years, or maybe in a very unenviable position for Canadians, by snubbing the American administration and getting on a plane and going to Europe, when the tradition for over 100 years has been to acknowledge the White House the minute an interim prime minister comes into power. That was not missed by the American administration. They are very unhappy with that, and I think trying to elevate that tension is a very foolish strategy on Carney's part, because as people have learned,
and that's what they're doing,
whether you like Trump or not, they certainly have got to know him over 12 years. He takes it personally.
He does.
Very foolish if you don't understand that. So for all of Carney's, and I applaud his resume, he's impressive, but he doesn't get it. He is completely out of sync with what it's going to take to negotiate with Trump and understand how important it is to work out this deal with a country that buys 75% of our output. So the reason that we got in such a bad place in the first situation was, if you recall back in the first mandate Trump had, both Trudeau and Freeland could not stop bad-mouthing him all around the world. That was stupid, because they thought Trump would never return to power. He did, and he made it his first mandate to make sure that he called, and this all started by calling Trudeau the first governor of the 51st state. He was just sticking it back to Trudeau, and people don't understand that. That was how toxic that relationship got. It was completely dysfunctional and not good for American people or Canadians. And Carney's doing exactly the same thing. I'm sure that'll be pointed out in the campaign. Very, very foolish, stupid. And he hasn't learned anything from what happened to Trudeau. He's looking like Trudeau 2.0 all over again, except this time on steroids.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. And that's a key point to make. Like, Trump never forgot those slights. And you know how Trump is. He's
he takes things very personal.
Yeah. And like, and he never forgot that. He never forgot like the different experiences he had with the Trudeau administration over his first tenure, right? And then it's true.
No, and I just want to bring it out to people who are voting for the Liberals, thinking that Carney's going to save us. He's already off to a bad start.
Terrible.
You think he's just being like, I don't know, standing up to the bullying crap, but no, he's not even talking with the bully.
No. Yeah, he's hiding, and he's being completely he's sort of continuing the terrible irresponsibility of the Trudeau regime, right? He's just, as Kevin O'Leary said, he's
at our cost.
At our cost. Like when Pierre Poilievre and I hope this is true. When he becomes prime minister, Pierre's smart. He's going to go down there and he's going to have respectful, really meaningful and productive discussions with Trump, because Trump is smart and he's not a monster. Like, if you show him some respect, which Pierre will, he'll go to the wall for Canada. Like, I remember when at the very beginning of Trump's first term, and Trudeau's like one of his first meetings with Trump, it was almost like Trump welcomed Trudeau and Sophie with open arms. Do you remember some of those pictures of them like embracing and stuff like that? And there's cartoons in the newspaper of Trump like being kissy faced with Trudeau and stuff like that. That's because like he didn't know what a weasel, two-faced jerk Trudeau was, right? And I think when Pierre becomes prime minister, God willing, and I'm not even religious, like if Pierre shows respect, like he'll get a good deal with the Americans. I have no doubt.
You just have to look and see how he even like talks to the common man. Do you think this is a person who would disrespect anybody?
Yeah, I know. It's just like, and I think Kevin O'Leary is like spot on in this segment. Like, the rift between Trump and the Liberal Party is irreconcilable.
Yeah, it's to our detriment.
Yeah, it is.
You know, these liberals constantly play with that. And don't understand, or either they intentionally do it or they're just plain stupid.
Exactly. And it's so self-serving and it's so destructive. Like they're only a platform, their keystone to their platform right now, the Liberal Party, is anti-Americanism, and it's going to really hurt.
They've talked about. Seriously, that's all they've talked about.
Yeah.
Anyways,
only issue.
Our last clip for this session, basically on the things we've previously talked about on the debate, on standing up to Trump. We're going to have Pierre Poilievre have the last word on it. He's responding to basically questions asked by a French reporter, and he's already responded in French, and now he's translating his response in English on these topics.
One, on the security clearance, I've already had a security clearance. What I will not do is because I was a cabinet minister, so I've already been cleared. What I will not do is commit to the oath of secrecy that the Liberals want to impose on me. They don't want me to be able to speak about these matters. So they'll bring me into a dark room and they'll say, we're going to give you a little bit of breadcrumbs of intel, and then we'll tell you can't talk about any of this stuff anymore. So for example, if they'd given me some kind of cursory briefing on China, then they would say, oh, you can't go talk about the fact that Mark Carney went off to Beijing and had meetings where he had secret talks with top government banking officials, after which a government bank gave his company a $250,000
Not a conspiracy theory. Go look it up.
A loan that his company still owes, and a company in which he's still invested, meaning that he is the most compromised and conflicted leader our country has ever seen. He did this after seeing that China had interfered in 2 consecutive elections. He did this after seeing China take 2 of our people hostage. He did
and
this
executed
after knowing that China had made incursions into our waters. How will Mark Carney ever protect Canada against Beijing's incursions into our territory, its interference in our country, or it's taking our jobs and our industrial base away when he owes them so much? And I won't be silenced on any of those issues. I look forward to hearing Mark Carney's answers, and I hope that Canadian media actually starts asking him some questions.
Yeah, I hope so too,
The nature of Brookfield's holdings. It really is incredible. The media has had some of this information, and I look forward to them actually asking questions. We have a guy who's prime minister who's never been elected to anything. He's the most unscrutinized leader our country has ever had, and he's by far the most conflicted. We're putting it out ourselves from now on, by the way. This is a guy whose company denied coal miners his insurance arm denied coal miners their payments when they were dying of black lung.
Yes.
In the States. They lost in court. The company lost in court. How is he ever going to stand up for working class people when that's the track record he has? He used rent evictions, predatory financialization of real estate. How is he ever going to fix our housing crisis when that is his background? I've said in the past that he's just as bad as Justin Trudeau. Frankly, he's much worse.
Yeah.
And he's much more conflicted. And he's going to be held accountable. On the debate, well, his excuses are changing from day to day. Mark Carney says he doesn't want to debate because there's a fee. Well, I'll pay the fee. He says that he doesn't want to debate because Elizabeth May has not been invited. Well, I'll invite her. So let's invite Elizabeth May. I'll pay the fee, so Mark Carney can't afford to pay $75,000. Conservatives are generous. We'll pay it for him. But if he's still too weak and fragile to debate at TVA, then he's too weak and fragile to stand up to Donald Trump and for our country. The debate is simple.
Love
Do we want a
has been
fourth liberal
thrown
term after the lost liberal decade, or do we want a new conservative government that will put
that's
Canada
awesome.
first for a change? Thank you very much.
The glove has been thrown down.
Oh yeah. Burn. Emotional damage.
I have not heard any response to this. Have you?
Nope. Man,
think
that
he will?
was pretty awesome. Like when everything he went through, Brookfield's treatment of the miners, the conflicts with the Bank of China, and
Every little dig that Carney keeps picking on, he basically threw the glove down. All right.
Did he ever?
Yeah.
Oh my
You got no
gosh.
excuses.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Debate me, dude.
great. Yeah. And Carney is gonna get shredded. I mean, even if it's just, this is perfect though. Like he's hiding just like Trudeau did, and he's making excuses, and we all know he's scared because his French is terrible, and he's gonna
It
be
would do him. It
eviscerated,
would
yeah.
do him more. Honestly, even if he's horrible, even if his French is horrible, if he refuses this,
Oh
he
yeah.
has no, he has nothing to stand on.
It's
like,
oh yeah. It's
how
gonna
can
be
he?
devastating.
Well, how can he say that he's going to stand up to Trump when he won't even debate Poilievre in French?
Exactly. It's gonna devastate the campaign, and because even though we've said this before, and I think that there's too much emphasis placed on French speaking in our electoral system, but that's the reality of it, and this is
We're
going
bilingual, two
we're
languages, two official languages.
and this is going to devastate Carney's campaign, and I'm so glad of it. And it's a huge body blow to Carney and the Liberals, which I love to see. I love it.
I don't know how francophones would vote for Carney at this point.
Exactly.
I know there will. I know there will be. I know people are that crazy.
Yep. But
found another one. Found another one, Mike.
Another one.
Found another one.
The retard finder is beeping. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, there are going to be a lot of French speakers who are not going to vote for Carney on principle.
Yep.
For that reason, you can just see it, and it's going to happen. And
Yeah,
everybody else in the country knows he's weak.
Speak French.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how any francophone would vote for him at this point if he refuses to even pick this up.
It's great.
So.
Anything that makes him look bad at this point, I'm for.
Anyways,
within
a lot
certain
of
legal boundaries, of course, but
a lot of good chaos this week.
Yeah.
I think this is Pierre had the last word at this point. We'll
Yep.
see what happens next week. People are still crazy here, so we'll never know. I mean, to me, the winner is obvious, but this is Canada.
Yeah. Just roll the dice. But no, I agree with you. Like, I think it's a really great start to Pierre Poilievre's campaign. Terrible start for Carney. And yeah, Elizabeth,
even though CBC will say otherwise, just want to put it in there.
Yeah. I mean, they'll tell us the black is white and the sky is green, you know, like it's...
And they give you the fake polls. Like the polls will either put them neck and neck, or they'll say that the Liberals are ridiculously ahead.
That's
what
right.
I've seen so far.
And Weathers and I were talking about this off air about polling, and it seems to be the trend over the last few years, both here and in the United States, that these polling firms, they act initially in the early days of the campaign as these propaganda tools where they bias those that they want to see win the election, and they coalesce towards some sort of accuracy as we approach
because they don't want to come off as like, you know, totally wrong, because then the next time they're counted on to do polling, who would trust them?
Exactly. Right? And I think we're seeing that very same trend here in Canada, and I just think Pierre's got that. He's got that popular support, right? We can see it, we can feel it, and I think it's looking. It started off so well.
I agree, but you know, once again, this is Canada, so
yeah,
anything's possible here.
Our crazy
land of the possibilities.
Yeah, that's right. Our crazy country.
Yeah. We've got to the end of this show. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Any last words before we cap everything off?
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Couldn't do without you. Thank you, Weathers. That was a great show, and it's great to be here with you again this week. And we look forward to more craziness in the campaign going forward. So it should be fun.
It's going to be. We picked a really good, like we were saying before we started the show. We picked a really good time to start this show. So
yeah,
we're never out of stuff to talk about. So before we end the show, let's go through our regulars, or regular data here, or regular information. If you want to watch the show on Twitter or X, they'll be at Hand Infinity, the official blue check mark for the Common Nonsense. If you want to talk to me, you can also ping me on at Hand of Infinity. If you want to talk to Mikerowaveable, it's at MicrowaveTCN on X. If you want to watch the show on YouTube, just putting it out there. YouTube, you ain't going to get us live next week, so you'll get the show after the live show. We're going to do something different for a change, and we're actually going to go with Rumble live instead of YouTube. So we'll give that a try and see where that gets us. So next week on our branded channel, you can see us live on Rumble. I will make a promise on that. So just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we're good for this show. We good?
Yeah, we're great. Thank you, Weathers. That was great.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
See you next time.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.